Now Diarmuid was famed for his valor and grace, the fairest of warriors, swiftest in chase. No maid could resist him, no foe could withstand the boldest young hero in Fion's noble band. He left his old training, his blade newly sworn, to follow bold Fionn through forest and thorn. By a river he paused where the cold waters ran, and an old woman wept, wishing help from a man. I must cross, she said, but the current runs deep, and my bones are too frail and the stones are too steep. Others passed on by her with nary a glance, but Diarmuid stepped down with his leather and lance. Through current and chill he bore her with grace, and there on the bank she revealed her true face. Her rags fell away as her shape rose and glowed, hair black as the raven, eyes fierce as she strode. I am Morrigan, goddess of battle and fate, for your kind deed I grant you a gift at this gate. She kissed his fair cheek and she spoke on the breeze, all hearts shall be yours, from maidens to queens. And one day, brave Diarmuid, on this very stream, you'll win a great battle beyond any dream. One day in Winster Fair, where the dark trees grow, Fionn hunted with comrades through briar and snow. They met a dark rider with calm in his air. 'Twas Medak once spared by Fionn's hand fair. I've built you a hall, Medak smiled with pride, where meat is still warm and the fire burns inside. Rest now, great captain, your hunting can wait. The Hostel of Quicken Trees opens its gate. With laughter and tales they were led through the door, but magic runs deep in the roots of that floor. The walls turned to blackness, the hearth grew cold, and each man stood frozen, caught silent and bold. Their limbs would not move, their voices were bound, like statues of stone they were cursed to the ground. But far from the lodge, in the hush of the glen, Diarmuid stirred sudden from talk among men. A chill touched his heart, a shadow drew near, some whisper of magic that only he'd hear. He mounted and rode through the dusk-silvered wood, where oaken trees tangled and dark water stood. There by a ford where the waters ran tight, Fiachna stood alone in the dim fading light, with sword flashing bright and his face like a stone. He held off a horde as he stood all alone. Medak rode forth with his malice full grown, but Diarmuid struck fast with a spear through his bone. The traitor fell hard to the rocks with a cry, yet Fiachna knelt bleeding, prepared now to die. Too late, said Fionn's son with his last fading breath, they're trapped in that hostel and close now is death. Only the blood of Medak's dark men can break the foul spell and free them again. Then silence the tide carried whispers and cries, as more foes approached with death in their eyes. Diarmuid rose slow with his hand on his blade, at the river's edge his last stand was made. Then came bold Fodla with iron in his hand, and stood by Diarmuid to guard the fort's strand. No words did they trade, just a nod and a breath, as the tide of the foe surged eager for death. The water ran red as the enemies pressed, but the two held the line with the strength of the blessed. Blade met with blade in the thunderous din, and the river cried out for the blood of their kin. Then came the sons of the king of Torrent, 3 giants in mail with a deathless torment. untame, till Diarmuid struck first and ended their claim. Their blood touched the earth, dark magic undone, and the spell on the hostel was shattered and gone. Fionn and his warriors stirred back to life, their limbs still weak but their hearts primed for strife. Then over the ridge came the last of the horde, the strongest of Medac's allies war scored. Fodla and Diarmuid, their strength near spent, still met them with fury and blades nearly bent. But Fionn took the field with a shout and a leap, and the Fena returned from their magical sleep. Then Oisin came riding with the warriors grand, and the last foe was broken by the might of their band. When the battle was done and the morning grew clear, the Fena stood silent in awe and in fear, for blood marked the ford where brave lives had been lost, and valor was counted at terrible cost. Fionn clasped Diarmuid's arm with a pride rarely shown. By your hand we are saved, you stood here alone. You came for your captain, for Fiachna my son. You fought without falter till the battle was won. Then Diarmuid looked down at the river's slow tide, and knew it was where the goddess once stood with pride. For there was the ford and the dawn rising red, the deed she had promised, the blood that was shed. No boasting, no song could quite measure the day, but the stones at that crossing still whisper and say, here stood a warrior fearless and true, whose heart never faltered, whose honor shone through.